Welcome everybody to this quantumworld.tv this morning, and we have, as you know, a special guest. The last World TV we had was comparing Dr. Fanning to the Eddington of the quantum medicine, and who is the Einstein. And I think this morning this is who we are. We have with us is probably the Einstein of quantum medicine. And let me explain you this point of view, because it's very important. You have to understand that still the model of education in medicine or in natural medicine is related to all scientific point of view based on Newtonian physics and chemistry. And even you know, if we're questioning now, you know, the cost of healthcare, we still don't realize that this whole model of healing is based on not an archaic, but I would say a post-dated model of science. So Quantum University, and this is the mission, was to put together this new vision to implement in the model of medicine and university and education, either natural medicine or integrative medicine we call today, the principle of quantum physics. And I was one of these scientists that you probably first time like me met in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, who was the one who has the mission to lay out the fundamental principle that will apply quantum physics to medicine. And that is a tremendous contribution, and this is why now Dr. Goswami is teaching with us today. He's the one to implement in a model of healing medicine or natural medicine or integrative medicine the principle of quantum physics. And for me, he's at this point writing history, and you will have just remind you the opportunity to see him again this year at the Congress with the other player of this new vision of medicine, Dr. Dispenza, Dr. Pearl, Dr. Lynn McTaggart. It's probably, I don't know if it's probably la publicité. It's probably an event that will never happen again, because to coordinate all these, what we call the dream team, all these keynote speaker and you know, a player in the field of quantum medicine, it was a tour de force, we will say in French. It was to coordinate all their agenda, and you have to know that they are very busy. They speak all over the world. And to coordinate that event was almost a miracle. So you still have the opportunity to sign up for this event. We check, and the hotel and flight are still very affordable. Don't wait last minute, because if you know, it's still a good time, a good opportunity if you want to, you know, come with a small budget to sign up for this event. And I remind you also, this month, September, is a back to school. It's also another opportunity to sign up in our program. And it's an incredible opportunity today to be able to study with these renowned doctor, this new model of healing. You know, it's a first time. Quantum University is a leader in this model of education now. And don't forget that September is all the time a good time to sign up for, you know, build a career in the domain of either integrative medicine or natural medicine. So I don't want to be too long this morning, because we have our renowned Dr. Goswami, and I'm just excited to hear what you have to say this morning, Dr. Goswami.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. That was a very gratifying, if not entirely deserving, introduction. One always wonders about one's own contribution, but I will gratefully accept what you have said and proceed with the problem at hand, which is I am particularly concerned about breast cancer, as are millions of women all over the world and all healthcare practitioners, because this has become a pressing problem. And of course, we have huge amounts of money spent by the Cancer Research Institute, and much of this money goes into pharmaceutical developing preventive medicines, perhaps, and also early detection. What I have to say is that the conventional oncological availability of both of these courses, prevention and early medicine, are very limited. And this is not widely understood why it is. Why that is because cancer is widely assumed by the allopathic conventional medicine establishment as purely a physical disease. And the belief is very strong that maybe it is some sort of a genes or at best some behavioral lifestyle problems that are responsible. Of course, genes and lifestyle problems are certainly significant, but does our lifestyle contribute only to the malfunction of the physical body directly? There is another view, and this view is called alternative medicine. It is very famous in the form of traditional Chinese medicine and traditional Indian medicine called Ayurveda. West has its own alternative medicine technique called homeopathy. And there are other systems like naturopathy, which also tries to stay away from allopathic or modern medicine for a variety of reasons. The main belief that these alternative medicine systems have is that we just do not know. Our biology, which keeps itself just confined within the domain of the physical, just isn't complete. That's not the whole story. In ancient times, the Chinese put forth their knowledge in terms of a concept called vital energy, which they called qi or ki. This word is now quite common in our English language thanks to practices like Tai Chi, which establishes balance and harmony in the movement of qi, or Qi Gong, which teaches you about how to establish such balance and harmony. And of course, Qi is called prana in India, it's called Ki in Japanese. It is vital energy in the West, so West is not entirely unfamiliar with the concept of vital energy. But this whole concept was abolished, whole concept was criticized and completely rejected in modern science, modern biology, when molecular biology was discovered in the 1950s. And the cause that was given for this rejection is called vitalism. And this rejection is called dualism. Vitalism is the idea that was rejected, the idea that vital energies are important contribution to our body's well-being, and therefore the body can contract disease not only because the physical organs have gone awry in their functioning, but also because the vital energy flow is not in harmony, and this disharmony needs to be removed. That's the simple concept of Chinese medicine, Indian medicine, homeopathy, and all that alternative medicine techniques. So even without examining the empirical data, the Western establishment rejected it because more and more the idea grew that everything is matter. Every experience of the human condition can be explained in terms of material, substructure, elementary particles, genes, and however up you want to go, brain and the body, organs. This is a very, very limited view. Very, very limited view, because are we properly explaining all the human experiences? Are we explaining, for example, feeling, thinking, intuition? These dimensions are being left out. Are we even explaining the creative dimensions of ourselves, which is vital in producing healing? If we are leaving out major parts of human experience, the human condition, in the scientific approach to medicine, then how can we be sure? And this kind of thing becomes very prominent in everybody's mind when the traditional medicine forces people to make decisions which really are quite disastrous psychologically. I'm of course thinking of my favorite actress Angelina Jolie's case, which recently got a lot of publicity. Now here is a wonderful, beautiful woman, vibrant when she acts. Everybody knows her name. She's also such a kind person, has a lot of children that she takes care of. And this person was told by her oncologist that she has a genetic condition which may produce a 56% chance of contracting breast cancer. And she, being a very dutiful mother and scared that she will indeed have cancer and will jeopardize her health, she chose in favor of her kids and had double mastectomy, radical mastectomy. And of course, she will have the appropriate plastic surgery, I'm sure, to make her look equally good on the screen. So we, the viewers of her acting ability, will not miss very much. But the psychological impact of mastectomy is enormous. That she cannot avoid in whichever way you look at it. Now, I'm not here to criticize Jolie's decision. That's completely her own, her private. But what I do want to say is that did the oncologist make sure that all the prevention has been options that she had, all the prevention options has been investigated? And I submit that no, modern medicine, oncologists do not know. They just do not know how much more prevention techniques are available in alternative medicines. Then finally we come to the question, is alternative medicine justified? Do we have a theoretical answer to this huge criticism that eliminated vitalism, dualism? What is dualism? Dualism is the idea that if you posit a vital world of experience that we have in addition to the physical body, where we experience the physical world, this is dualism. The question is, how does the vital body, how does our own vital body in this vital world interact with the physical body in this physical world? And the scientific materialist says that these two bodies, these two worlds just cannot interact because there is no signal that goes out of the physical world into the vital world or vice versa. How do we know? Because all signals carry energy, and energy of the physical world alone is a constant. So energy never goes out to a different world. This much we know. But what energy are we talking about? It's physical energy, right? And that's the catch. That's the catch. Is there always a necessity for energy transferring signals to mediate communication between vital world and physical world? This is where quantum physics comes in, and it has really revolutionized science by recognizing that no, there is also signal-less communication, communication that does not require signal. It's called non-locality. Enormous evidence now, enormous evidence to suggest that non-locality is real. The most important evidence is, of course, transfer potential that I always talk about very briefly. Two people meditate together for 20 minutes, and even when they're separated and there is no signal communication possible between them, even then, if they maintain the meditative oneness and the intention that they will communicate somehow directly without exchanging signal, they can. How do we know? Because one person is shown a series of light flashes producing electrical activity in that person's brain, and lo and behold, the other person's brain picks up the electrical activity without any signal. How is that possible? This is called transfer potential. It's now verified originally by Jacobo Greenberg in University of Mexico, but now by many other researchers, many parts of the world. Some 24 experiments have replicated this original transfer potential experiment. So, non-locality, which was first discovered experimentally in the physics of elementary particles, is real even for human beings. It occurs between human brains. So now we can posit this very simple thing. What is the field that conveys non-local interaction from one body to another? It's of course called consciousness. This is where quantum physics comes in, because quantum physics says that objects are possibilities for consciousness to choose from. I'll repeat, objects are possibilities for consciousness to choose from. They are not the concrete objects that we actually experience. We experience concrete objects only after we choose. This is the vitally important new information that we'll need to suggest a revolution of the way that we conceive of medicine so far. Modern medicine needs to undergo a literally radical change from modern medicine into a modern integrative quantum medicine. Quantum integrative medicine is how we call it at IQIM, and it is very important to see the role of the quantum, which is to suggest that consciousness is important. It is very important to see how the integration is taking place, because we posit that consciousness is the ground of all being, in which there are four worlds of possibility. One world is simply the familiar one, the physical, material world. But then there's also the world of vital energies. What does it consist of? Rupert Sheldrake, the famous biologist, made it clear. It consists of those fields that contribute blueprints for making physical organs. I'll go into more details of this a little later. The third world is the mental world, from which our thoughts and meanings come. And you all know that meaning is very important in our well-being, because what meaning we give to what feeling determines how we feel that feeling, whether we like it or dislike it. Meaning is extremely important. So mind has effects on the movement of vital energy. And then ultimately the fourth world, that's the most subtle and also very, very important, is the world of archetypes, the one that we intuit, the one that is so subtle that we intuit and we are disturbed, but we don't quite know always what we intuited. We have to follow up with the creative process in order to discover what really was that intuition. But everybody knows that when you have an intuition, you really have a gut feeling that something happened and I must pay attention to it. We only get a glimpse with the intuition. We make a quick mental thought out of it. It may not be enough to tell me what to do, but eventually if I follow it up, I discover a full-fledged creative insight, and that's how creativity progresses. The whole creative process is now known thanks to quantum physics. So these new ingredients, the four worlds of experience, the most important one, vital, but equally important is also the mental and the supramental, the archetypal, because they affect the vital. Why is the vital the most important one? Because the vital morphogenetic fields are the blueprints of biological organs. This is the idea that Rupert Sheldrake gave us. Let's analyze a little bit of this idea before we proceed any further. There is a phenomenon in biology called cell differentiation. The idea is very simple. We all begin as a one-celled embryo, as you know. And then this cell divides and becomes many, many cells that our body has. One catch. All these cells have the same genetic material, and therefore they have the same capacity to make proteins. However, different cells perform different functions, suggesting that they make different proteins. All cells don't make the same proteins. So some genes are activated in some cells, but not activated in other cells. On top of it, when you think about it, the brain, the liver, and the toe, these cells are different parts of the body, but the cells exactly know which genes to activate when it is in a particular place of the body. How does the cell know where it is in the body? This was a question that the great scientist Lewontin of MIT asked and never found answer. Rupert Sheldrake gave us the answer. The answer is there are morphogenetic fields that tells consciousness which cells to activate, which genes to activate in which cell, non-locally, without exchanging signal. Consciousness mediates the interaction between the morphogenetic field and the body, physical, and there is no dualism. So quantum physics so radically eliminates dualism from all these criticisms that has prevented us to look at alternative medicine, that we must now re-examine the contribution of these vital energies, the mental meanings, and the supramental archetypes to our well-being. When we do that, a very hopeful, optimistic picture of how to take care of our health, how to prevent disease emerges. In particular, let's go back to breast cancer. We always think of the physical, genes. Angelina Jolie, of course, is a very special case, and there was a specific genetic defect. Nobody can deny that. That's correct. But many other women have breast cancer without this particular genetic defect or any other genetic defect. What is happening? All right, the wisdom that modern medicine now accepts reluctantly, because it does not, of course, explain why lifestyle should have such a disastrous effect on the body. But still, it accepts that lifestyle has something to do with contracting this chronic disease. But there is no explanation of it. It's just a vague statement. So we are told to remove stress, and mostly we are told to accept the fact that if we have to take certain very costly pharmaceutical medicines for which much research money is spent, and these medicines have all universally one defect, which of course everybody knows, called side effect, detrimental to our health. Detrimental because it affects other parts of the body. So in this way, really, we are shortchanging so many women. Roughly in 4 years, the data is showing that about 1 million women in America contract breast cancer. And we don't even understand what precisely it is that is producing breast cancer. Now, I cannot speak of all cancers. As I said, there is certainly some cancers where the genetic effect predominates. There is some defect in the genes. But there are other cases where emotions are responsible. How do emotions get into the picture? This is where the alternative medicine way of thinking gives us clear answers. I said before that vital energies can go awry, and that can produce physical defect, because the morphogenetic field, it's the movement of the morphogenetic field that is called vital energy, and movement of the morphogenetic field is connected to the physical organs, because organs are representations of these morphogenetic fields. You think of morphogenetic fields as the blueprint. Just like the architect uses a blueprint to build your house, similarly consciousness uses morphogenetic fields to build your organ. Now there is an organ, very important organ, called the thymus gland, which gives you, your body, the ability of distinguishing between your body and molecules that don't belong, that are not your body, you and not you. So this immune system has a correlated morphogenetic field, the blueprint of the immune system, right? So if you meet a person once in a while where you discovered that, oh, I like this person to be mine. Remember that feeling? It's called romantic love. So that makes it clear that the immune system has connection with the concept of romantic love, which is to abolish the difference between me and not me. In other words, the immune system functioning is suspending itself momentarily, the distinction of me and not me. It's an agreement of two people's immune system and their morphogenetic fields that give us the feeling of romantic love. Now imagine that this feeling is not being met. You are not getting your desired partner. What happens? What happens that your immune system functioning will forever be blocked. It won't work because you are not going to love again. So this blocking of the immune system, which is a familiar feeling to many women who has a bereavement, whose partner has passed away, or the result of a nasty divorce, which we normally call grief. It can block the vital energies in the morphogenetic field related to the immune system. This blockage, grief is an emotion, this blockage of vital energy at the immune system can cause the immune system malfunctioning. How does cancer occur? There is general agreement that the body is always producing cancerous, potentially cancerous cells, abnormal cells, but the immune system kills them off. If there is a malfunctioning immune system that does not work properly, then obviously these abnormal cells will not be killed off, and then they can grow and become cancerous, malignant. So in this way, we now have, at least for the cases of women who are grieving, who have an emotional problem which causes vital energy block in the immune system as an explanation of certain kinds of cancer. And in these cases of cancer, then, what should work? What should work is to clear up the vital energy flow in the morphogenetic field related to the immune system. In other words, the woman has to have a breakthrough where she can love again. Simple? No. Quite difficult. So before I get into how to heal this, let me get into how to prevent this. What is the way to prevent? It turns out, and here is where the traditional Chinese medicine is very good. Traditional Chinese medicine is giving us several hints. In fact, so much hint that I tell you, it just fills me with enormous pride having descended to this time, 21st century of humanity, when we learned so much. But the ancestors who were just intuiting so many thousands of years ago, imagine their ability, intuitive ability. So, coming back to it. So, what is the Chinese medicine saying? Chinese medicine is saying that there are two meridians that contribute to the health of this region, entire region, which we call heart chakra, which contains the immune system. It also contains the lung, the heart. Immune system, according to the modern observation, is the major system, which gives us this distinct feeling of a self. We say that the brain is connected with our primary self, connected with mentation, of course, that's true. But in spiritual traditions, we always have known that there is a self at the heart. This is why whole spiritual tradition is sometimes called journey towards the heart, discover the other self that we have. which is heart-based, which is our emotional self. There is a self that is centered about meditation, thinking, and there is a self connected with not only thinking but also feeling, and that's the heart self. So the Chinese medicine has a theory of the heart self. It's amazing. In modern times, in quantum physics, I won't go into the details of this because, you have to take the whole course that we have at IQIM to get into the detailed, very sophisticated concept. But we have a concept called tangled hierarchy, a circular causal logic that exists between different entities. When that happens, we get this self-reference, the capacity for this system to refer to itself as independent, as separate from the rest of the environment. So it turns out that the two organs that contribute, and Chinese figured this out with their 5 elements theory, quite amazing, heart-lifting to go through the theory, of course. The Chinese medicine says the other 2 organs that are important are the stomach and the liver. Liver the most, stomach second most important. And of course, Chinese medicine also has the concept that there are ways that these organs communicate. There is ways these organs communicate in the physical. We know about those. That's part of allopathic medicine. But there are ways also these organs communicate in the vital, non-locally, with the help of the ground of being, consciousness, the causal agent. So these channels of communication, they imagined that there are channels of this communication between these organs, and they call them meridians. Now they have a very, very interesting concept, completely quantum. They say that vital energy, this qi, has 2 aspects. One is called the yin, and the other is called the yang. In modern parlance, in quantum parlance, we call the yin as the particle aspect, conditioned aspect, and yang the possibility aspect or the creative aspect. And the Chinese medicine makes it very clear. The health of an organ depends on the harmony, the balance of yin and yang of qi. You have to maintain the balance. If you are not maintaining balance, too much yin, then no creativity, that's the block. But if it's too much creativity, too much yang, that is also not so good. In the case of cancer, it is mainly the overabundance of yin that we have to worry about, because it's the creative part which has to come in the form of immune system functioning that has to kill off the cancerous cells, remember? So Chinese medicine constantly talk about internal cold that can be produced by taking cold stuff or raw food. Internal cold. Cold can not only come from external, but also can come from internal. And this internal cold, according to Chinese medicine, has to be kept away. That's one item of prevention. But the major item of prevention, now notice, is not only looking at the emotional component for the immune system, which is not to have things like grief, not to have blockage coming from wrong meaning given to an experience, because that's what it is about. A spouse dies, a lover dies, does not mean that you have to block your heart energy, but we do. Why? Because we give it wrong meaning, that we can have love only with this one partner. Not true. We know that. Others who have gone out of that morose knows that. But however much you tell the patient, she cannot listen. The wrong meaning. How can we write the meaning? Well, that's a long story. It takes enormous amount of effort. And this is difficult. We have to teach that. And that's the subject of quantum healing, which I'll come back shortly. But coming back to that, coming back to the what can you do other than emotions? So emotions affect the immune system the most, but there is also this liver and stomach. What affects their function? And that's when nutrition comes in. So nutrition is also a component of, very major component of blockages that could take place, because if stomach and liver is not functioning properly, then also the meridian would be affected. The self, which circulates between three organs, that self-functioning will be affected. The capacity to love comes from the identity that consciousness brings to this self, this heart self. If that identity is lost or is weakened, obviously again, we will suffer, producing cancer. So breast cancer in this view is a result of a weakened self at the heart. How can we strengthen this self? We can strengthen it by removing emotional blocks or preventing emotional blocks in the first place. That is the best, of course. Prevention is always the best. And also taking care of our digestive system, specifically liver and stomach. Not only by nutrition in the physical, but also by nutrition in the vital. This is something in addition that traditional Chinese medicine and the alternative medicines in general have discovered, that there are ways to heal the vital body too. And if we did that, if we can bring creativity back in the vital body, then balance will be restored and healing will occur. So in the first place, if we maintain it, that's absolutely the very best. So this gives us additional ways to maintain. Now, let me inject a few words about quantum healing. If the disease occurs anyway because of wrong mental meaning given to our loss of an emotional partner, how can we ever heal that? We have to now heal it from the mental level, because the meaning is where the original dis-ease. Dis-ease, notice, lack of harmony. Ease is harmony. Lack of harmony. The original lack of harmony occurred because wrong meaning was given to a particular event. These events of death happen to everyone. Divorces now are so common. Can happen 50% of us. So we cannot prevent the events, but we can prevent how to give meaning to it. If we have given wrong meaning, however, it takes an enormous effort, because the context in which the problem was created, if you stay in the same level, you cannot solve the problem. So you have to jump to the supramental, to the archetypal level, where new meaning comes from in order to heal. This is why this kind of healing, there's now plenty of evidence for spontaneous healing like this without medical intervention, is called quantum healing. That's the name that Deepak Chopra first gave it, but quantum physics explains it. That's why the term quantum healing. There is a discontinuous leap of meaning that takes place in such healing. And this is very, very important. Just to give you one example, this is a case reported in medical journals. There was an oncologist, this is in the 70s. There was an oncologist who had a patient who had Hodgkin's disease and pregnant. And because of that, she could not have chemotherapy, because that certainly will abort the pregnancy. So the doctor suggested that maybe we can do an LSD trip together. I will help you. And she agreed. So under LSD, the idea was to go to deep levels of consciousness and see if any message comes about what the right decision is. And the woman was very fortunate to find for herself such a deep level of consciousness. When she came out, she said, I discovered the choice. I have to choose between life and death, and I chose life. She discovered that she has to choose. She has to be responsible for what meaning she gives. And she gave meaning to life. She didn't choose death. So the result was that not only she was healed, but the baby was also born healthy. So this kind of thing, quantum healing, is necessary. Can we produce quantum healing at will? No. Creative process is a process which is certainly not a predictable something that you can do. It's not like a pharmaceutical medicine. This is the cause of its unpopularity, rightfully so. There is no guarantee. But we can do some things. It's called the creative process. We can do something, and it's all scientific. Quantum physics explains every aspect of the creative process. And when you do that, when you partake in the creative process, there is no evidence. There are oncologists who are following the creative process. And indeed, there is plenty of evidence that people have quantum healing come to them as a result of this creative process, consisting of visualizations and what have you. Unconscious processing takes a huge role in the creative process. Visualization produces unconscious processing. And then if you add that to the focused attention, to the intention of healing, I will be healed. If that picture grows in you, that plus the unconscious processing, that visualization of ambiguous scenarios for healing can create this combination applied intermittently, a process that I call often do and be. Focused doing and relaxed being, where you are just visualizing in an idle way, like we watch clouds in the sky, we visualize various scenarios of healing. This process can lead to spontaneous healing. No guarantees, but if your intention is pure, if your intention is designed to be in harmony with the movement of consciousness, then, says quantum physics, chances of success is good. Quantum healing. I will end this by another line of attack that we have, this alternative medicine, integrative medicine approach, quantum medicine approach. So first prevention, then healing, and then diagnostics. In allopathy, our diagnostic is very limited. Of course, today we use MRI and CAT scan, which are much better than looking at a human body with just stethoscope and our eyes, but this is still only looking at the physical body. And physical body when? When there is already a cancer, and that already can be too late. If the cause is at the vital level, if the cause is at the mental level, if we could remove it at those levels, wouldn't it be much better? The vital level actually can be detected. Vital level defect, we now have enough technological savvy. We have an instrument called Carlian photography. We take an electrical picture of a cancerous tissue. And that electrical picture, which actually takes a picture of the skin near the organ, that's at the heart chakra. It is found that this electrical picture will convey a status of the emotional situation in that chakra, if there is a block or not. By comparing it with a healthy person with a healthy heart chakra, you can tell that no, this heart chakra, the energy is blocked, vital energy is blocked. Carlian photography. How does that work? Because the skin is correlated with the vital energies as well, and therefore skin reflects the movement of the vital energy, whether it's blocked or not. electromagnetic body. The skin has associated with it an electromagnetic body. This is why the health of the skin is the health of the electromagnetic body, which can be measured with an electrical picture. This is the breakthrough, and that's correlated with the emotions, vital energies, and that's how this picture is telling us about the status of vital energy, whether it's blocked or not. So if we can measure the situation of the vital energy as well, it's higher condition to physical. So physical defect may not even have started or started barely. So there is a doctor called Drouin. Now this is hearsay. I have heard about it. I have not seen the results myself. But people who have worked with this Dr. Drouin, I have heard him. He is a great expert of these Kirlian photographs. I have heard him present Kirlian photography. So anyway, he is using Kirlian photography to observe the energy flux at the heart chakra and detecting cases of breast cancer long before it would be available in MRI or CAT scan. Biopsy, of course, will show it already. So there is a verification of by biopsy in his cases where it says there is a block, and indeed biopsy shows that yes, there is now beginning cancer, but at very early stages. So if you can detect cancer at that early stage, clearly radiation treatment and other less destructive treatments will be available. Much better choices than radical mastectomy. So in this way, if we combine alternative medicine with conventional medicine, I'm not suggesting we eliminate conventional medicine. I'm not suggesting that at all, because in some cases it may be necessary. But to supplement conventional medicine with alternative medicine is the wise thing to do. Dr. Paul mentioned medical costs. Every alternative medicine practitioner or any person who has ever sought out alternative medicine knows how cheap it is, relatively speaking. We can bring the cost of medicine down by enormous amounts. These chronic diseases, cancer and heart disease being the major ones, they are the 80% of our medical costs. Just think about it. How much reduction of medical costs could be achieved by moving from conventional medicine alone to integrative medicine, which uses a combination of the conventional with the alternative, which emphasizes prevention in the true sense, prevention from a cause point of view, which has a theory of how disease actually occurs. You know, after all these years of medicine, except for the cases of bacteria or accidents or some direct physical cause that can be assigned, conventional medicine is completely unable to give us any direct cause for most of the diseases that we have. In the vital alternative medicine, vital mental, we can give a direct cause, and we can remove the direct cause. There is no iffiness here. This is real science. Conventional medicine is both science and arts. We don't realize this normally. We have really a much better scientific approach if we combine conventional and alternative into a quantum integrative medicine. And this is what we need to do. I said before, 1 million women in every school, they're crying out for help. We can give it today. Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Goswami. Who will have thought that Angelina Jolie will be at the core of probably the most important debate at this time in modern medicine? And the consequence of this history is huge. You know, I was listening yesterday an ad on, I don't know if it's radio or TV, and they were advertising now, get your DNA done to be able to take care of your health. So this vision, this point of view now of where is medicine with genetics and and health, and it is absolutely crucial. And you have explained very well, Dr. Goswami, that if you don't understand the connection mind and body, and you have explained also how this, through the understanding of vital body and mental and supramental, how this connection could be understood, and this is very important. There is no way that the conventional medicine can grasp, this connection and bring a solution to a problem that are physical. And I hope everybody is really realize the importance, of this vision in medicine now that Dr. Goswami has called Integrative Quantum Medicine. This is so important. It's like if we were denying, and I said this so many times, other source of energy in our society now. We have to open the door to these complementary medicine, because this is how we will be able to implement other solutions to these problems that are way more costless. And this is what is about our university. It's a program, it's a curriculum where we have laid out with Dr. Goswami the principle of it. Can you bring the slide? And also the engineering, how Taoist medicine, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, understand this concept of quantum medicine and quantum physics. You have to realize that for centuries, all ancient system of healing did already understood how move energy in the body, subtle energy, either in terms of qi with Chinese medicine or Taoist medicine or prana in case of Ayurvedic medicine. And then when you sign up in the program, this is what you will learn. You will learn from the principle of quantum physics to how to apply that into a model of healing that allow, of course, the practitioner later on to use different modality to be able to restore health on the individual. So that was a little bit my part here, but this is so important. You have to realize now that the way conventional medicine is looking at an individual from this box of disease, and then it's like there is no issue at the end of the day. And the consequence of the way they look at the genetics, which is like a determinant, there is no way to influence the outcome of it. It will be a disaster for the next decennies if we don't come with the real complete vision of the picture. Already people, will just go and have this DNA test, and already woman, will line up to have the breast removed. Like 30 years ago, doctor will remove appendix and gallbladder to almost everybody, and kids, tonsils. We remember that today. We look at this like was a sad moment in the history of medicine. This is what is waiting us if we don't commit ourselves, if we don't become healer in this society with the real credential and implement this new way of healing. And I know this morning we have a lot of participants, and they are probably anxious to ask you a question, Dr. Goswami. And so let's take probably our first question. Do you have the chat room, Alexei? And that will be the role of the doctor in the future. It will be, to have this complete understanding. And then when Dr. Goswami was explaining about, the mode of functioning of heart chakras, which is where you have more ego mode, which is more love, possessive love. We understand now that the individual, through his journey, has to learn a more universal way to express the full potentiality of the chakra. So that will be the role of the doctor, be able to read that, and help the individual to evolve, from a limited way, to express their heart chakra to something which is more self-oriented. So do we have our chat room now, Alexei? Yeah. Okay, let's go there, because I'm sure we have so many participants today. And please, you can ask questions also regarding also our program. curriculum. If there's students sitting in the room now, if there are any concept you didn't understand or integrate with Dr. Goswami, you're more than welcome to ask this question this morning. So we start with Jane, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, Jane Pert, thank you for your insight. What is your opinion on breast reconstruction from a quantum perspective? I had a mastectomy over 16 years ago, and for many reasons I am contemplating reconstruction. I think it's a very good question here. And before you answer, maybe I like to say that, we are in a place where we integrate medicine together. Doesn't mean, sometimes people will have to go this kind of surgery. The idea is really to take advantage of everything that has been put out there. Of course, and I'd like to answer you, hear your answer, Dr. Goswami, and I may have to comment a little bit after too. Thank you. So what do you think about that?
Well, the morphogenetic fields are connected with the biological tissues. They will never connect to anything that is artificial. But if the body does not reject it, that's telling us something. That then it's telling us that they're at least neutral with respect to the movement of vital energy in the region. So the plastic surgeon, modern plastic surgeon, knows all this. So these implants, if they are psychologically benefiting the person, then the psychological benefit could be very useful to the person indeed. So I don't have anything that is against reconstructive surgery if that contributes to the psychological health. But if the psychological health does not demand such reconstructive, then of course the considerations, simple considerations of understanding the body and the vital body will only correlate with the organic tissue. It cannot correlate with artificial limbs, or it cannot correlate with artificial breasts. But nevertheless, if it is accepting it, that tells us something. So it's obviously not harming the connection either. So in that sense, if there is psychological benefit, that's where the crux is. I think if there is psychological benefit, there should be no objection to reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Dr. Goswami. The psychological benefit of this could be very important because it's a kind of an image and self-esteem. And there, when we have to go in that direction, I have done this many times with my patients. I will use homeopathy to support the intervention. Because there is homeopathic remedies that will minimize the side effect of the surgery, and then also minimize the side effect of foreign tissues. So there is way to combine both together. So this is one is not against the other here. And medicine, conventional medicine has also its benefit. So what I done most of the time in clinic, I would combine both. So that on one side, because I can see, the psychological positive effect, of reconstruction. But on the other side, I will also support with natural mean, homeopathy or others, to minimize the side effect of the intervention, and later on also the side effect of this reconstruction. So I think that would be my answer. And this is why, what is integrative quantum medicine? Is to put at best for the client, the patient, what one is better at. It's combined all together instead to see this like a opposite view. Here we have a model of understanding that it's just deeper and give a broader understanding, more possibility for the client, and not restraining. Here you make the choice of natural, and then you cannot do the medical. No, that's, for me, this kind of point of view is really from the past. So let's take another question. Is it Lise? Okay, I totally agree that the combination of alternative and conventional medicine is the key to a better healthcare system. I am living proof. Yeah, so thank you to reinforce the answer here. Roxanne, Schwabi, hello. Will there be a replay? Yeah, again, we like to let you know that all the quantumworld.tv are available. You go on our website. What is the menu event?
Yeah, menu event.
You go in event, you go Quantum World TV, and please, invite your friend to see these program, because the idea of the Quantum World TV is really to spread out all these benefit of this concept of it's not anymore concept now of integrative quantum medicine. And this is why we have this morning Dr. Goswami with us, and sometimes we have other guests to that the whole world know about this way to know medicine. So please invite your friend too. You go event, and I believe an hour after the program or tomorrow this can be replayed as many times you want. This is on ours. It's available for everybody, no cost. Okay, let's take another question. Victoria Rose, the angel. Amen. Liz, God bless you. I am working with a dear friend as she used conventional medicine but also changed her diet, does energy healing with me, and use therapeutic grade essential oil, and she is it another? Yeah, it's a comment here. Of it's great. You're already a living example of integrative quantum medicine. Please keep your good work. Let's take another question here. Alexei, who is the next one? Mike O'Leary. We know that wrong meaning create disease, but does certain wrong meaning create certain disease, or does wrong meaning in general just create disease by its own choice? Very, very good question. So how you will answer that, Dr. Goswami?
Okay, so yes, this has been well known from the beginning of history. Even the Bible has cases where wrong meaning produces sudden death. So how we construct the meaning of what we feel, the movements of the vital energy, is extremely important. How do we teach these things correctly? That also becomes equally important. And of course, the difference between how our worldview, how we view the world, affects our ascribing meaning. So just look at psychology today. Mainly, psychology today tells us, it's based on the idea that brain is everything, brain is consciousness, brain is mind. And so what that does is that it accepts the existing framework, the circuits, the emotional circuits particularly, part of which is the instincts. And as you know, the instincts came to us from the animals, and they're basically about survival. They're basically about the first three chakras. They're basically about how to take care of ourselves, how to adjust to the environment, how to reproduce. And generally, the excess of energy in these three chakras will give us negativity. So they're called negative emotional brain circuits. Dr. Dispenza at the conference will have a lot to say about these negative emotional brain circuits and how to complement them with positive. So will I. This is a very important aspect of the new science, which brings the idea of positive emotions, and how they come is through the intuition, not in the brain. So you have to get outside of the brain framework in order to get the idea that we can also have positive meanings and positive psychology. Very important to recognize. The conventional approach, negative psychology. The new approach, positive psychology. New approach does not negate the existence of the negative. Yes, the brain is wired like that, but we are not have to be stuck with the brain wiring. We can supplement the brain wiring with new brain circuits that we can create. The greatest discovery of neuroscience, recent discovery, is neuroplasticity. Brain can change, and we can make those changes through creativity. So the whole idea then is to learn to give new meaning, learn the meaning of creativity, how to be creative. And again, I already touched upon this subject, the idea of do, creative process. Quantum physics explains that it's a lifestyle. Once you learn it, you are never stuck with giving the same meaning. Your unconscious never operates to automatically produce that negative meaning which harms the body. In other words, a quantum aficionado would never fall prey to wrong meaning in the way a Newtonian aficionado would disease himself or herself. But because we today, we have at least 60% of people all over the world believe in Newtonian worldview, we have a problem. And so this disease, which is a result of how we interpret the effect of stress. We cannot eliminate stress in modern life. Anybody who thinks that way, is thinking of living it all outside, like Henry Thoreau, and I of course love it from outside, but I also recognize that we could not do it. Majority of us are stuck with the stress of modern life. How do you handle stress? You have to give meaning to your negative feelings that come from stress. You have to be optimistic. If you're pessimistic, what do you end up with? You get all these chronic disease. Heart disease, cancer, depression. Those are the three major ones. And none of them is any good. On the other hand, if you are aware of creativity, if you are aware of positivity, if your mind works in the positive direction, it's not so bad. We can handle stress well. Okay? So the question of meaning indeed is a question which can be dealt with in a positive psychology.
Thank you, Dr. Goswami, for your answer. And for me, of course, this is a tremendous important question, because that was, as a clinician, something that I all the time ask, how these diseases are generated and what are the meaning that are associated with it. And if we go in our program, the two classes has been designed to go a little bit more in depth on this. One is the new quantum medicine, and one who done a lot of research on that is Dr. Hammer, as you know, who brain map the cancer patient and associate different conflict with different type of disease. So, and he demonstrated that when the conflict is solved, then there is in the brain scan a change, disparition of a trace or a lesion there. So and also, if you can come back with the slide too. If we look, there's another course also called the Taoist Chinese medicine. You have to understand that, as I said, all ancient system of healing already have studies. What we call the meridian and the organs, and this is in that course that we try to understand, what are the type of emotion that are associated with different type of organ, and how the meridian, because the meridian in some way you have the organ, and Dr. Goswami explained also the vital body, the morphogenetic field. This is what is related with the meridians, and these are according to Taoist tradition, they are associate with, let me see here if I can find this, they associate with different quality of emotion. So this is, in the course that we try to study this and go more in depth, so that the clinician, following some map, and this is very important. It doesn't mean, a map is of understanding of this meridian or this disease associated with this conflict. Are all you already have to follow that, but they are like a clue that help you in this process, as explaining Dr. Goswami now, that we use through quantum healing, a process of creativity, because for every individual, there will be a specific meaning associated to this specific disease, chronic disease or cancer, and the map Even if they are according to ancient tradition, they are just there to guide your research, to listen what's going on here, and to tap in this mode of processing information. And this is where is the work now of universities, to train doctor to understand how to implement this idea in a model of healing according to science, which is quantum physics, and according also to other model of healing, how to implement that correctly. Of course, it cannot be explained in 5 minutes, but you understand what is the importance here. You know, because if you, I am a medical doctor. I went to a medical school. There is no way for me, when I went to a medical school, after 2-3 years, after I've learned chemistry and even psychology at that time, which is more was a behavioral type of psychology and physics and biology and human anatomy, that I could understand in some way the mystery of what's going on when someone has a disease. Because this information, to be able to encrypt in some way the meaning that has generated that is in this new model of education that we are offering. I don't want to be too long here. I know there is a lot of questions, but this debate this morning is so important, and I hope and we need, you know, more and more healer, practitioner, doctor, nurse that has this understanding of reality in their art of healing. We need them more and more. So let's take the other question. I get all that I'm passionate about this, you know. What can I do? Okay, let's take the other question. Alexei? Okay, what is the next one? Is it Donis? Donis? Okay, Pilar Zutuna, Dr. Goswami, I have, can you, okay. I have question about quantum healing in children. Is it any difference? Very good question. I repeat that. I have a question about quantum healing in children. Is it any difference?
Well, case of children is a very curious one. I have an idea, but I think that we need to do some research. The idea is quite simple. The parents, particularly the mother, can be very deeply emotionally connected to the child. And in the new science, we talk about correlated consciousness, where a non-local connection literally enlarges one's concept of the self. So mother self, almost always, unless it's a pathological case, almost always connected with very young children. The expanded consciousness is practically automatic. This gives us an opportunity that does not exist in the case of adults. The opportunity of doing a quantum healing program, including the mother and the child, and of course the doctor. Those three, whereas original quantum healing technique uses the correlation of doctor and the patient very effectively, because that expanded consciousness has a better chance of healing, because the doctor provides the expertise, the patient provides the intention, and that works the creative process much faster. In this case, it is doctor, mother. It can be father in very difficult cases like there is no mother. But mother works better because mother has this maternity positive emotional brain circuit etched in the brain. That helps, and it's really no comparison between a mother and a father as far as this non-local correlation goes. So doctor, mother, and the child together, if they make a healing system, then we can certainly invoke all the concepts of quantum healing, because child by himself or herself, very young children, would not be able to quite do the creative process in a systematic way. Their conceptual framework is not built yet. But with the addition of the mother, they can be guided. So in that way, quantum healing can be applied. But this idea has to be tested. I have no experiential basis of suggesting that this will actually work. But if as we get more and more funding for integrative medicine, this question certainly can be put to test.
Yeah, very interesting answer. And this reminds me when I was training as a medical doctor and I done my residency in pediatry. They will make one of the first thing they teach us is to put the mother out of the loop, you know, because she was most of the time confusing the objectivity of the doctor. Can you believe that? So you realize now that this idea of entanglement, you know, that is brought by again by quantum physics and quantum medicine is revolutionized completely the relation between the doctor and the patient, and this is one of the key principles that is teaching Dr. Goswami in the program. So let's take another question here. Very, very interesting. Again, Mike O'Leary, the Bible says love covers a multitude of sin, but will you agree that love might cover a multitude of health problems? Did you hear this one? Let's repeat it again. That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, no. The Bible says love covers a multitude of sin, multitude. But will you agree that love might cover a multitude of health problems?
You mean you are associating love with first sin and then...
Yeah, he said, you know, in the Bible, a lot of sin is associated with love, but we have to understand what he's saying, but at the same time with health problems.
Old Testament Bible should be absolutely banned for anybody who is interested in integrative healing. New Testament is fine because Jesus understood about love. The Old Testament is a good teaching in some extent, but you have to take it as in the historical context. The concepts are very primitive, often very black and white, and reality is just not like that. If this hurts your sensibility, I'm sorry, I do not like criticizing religions because I support them in general. But you know, certain books have to be redone, and this is why Jesus exists, and this is why New Testament is taught. We have to recognize the limits of Old Testament, and that they are a direct challenge to Jesus' teaching, right? If you believe in Old Testament, you couldn't possibly believe in Jesus. So Christianity is full of contradiction like that. If you want to be a good Christian, follow Jesus. Christian means follower of Jesus, not Old Testament.
It's not a religious debate this morning. Can you bring one of my slides? I like your your answer, Dr. Goswami, but this question is a little bit confusing here. Let's bring in Taoist medicine. When we speak about the heart meridians. Wait a minute, I have to find this. Do you have the slide with the 5 elements? They associate the heart meridians with an essential quality called the Chen, and the Chen is this quality of compassion. And they said, you know, when the heart is healthy, you know, all these 5 elements circulate together. I have the chart of this on my slide. You know, it's like another word, and it's true. You look at someone in love, and now you have the wheel with all the 5 elements, and the top you have love. And this one is associated with the heart meridian, and the quality here is, you know, what they call Chen or compassion. Or so what I was saying is when someone is in love, okay, it's below. They said, you know, you cannot be ill, and we know that, you know, someone is in love. Sometimes people will say, oh, what's happened with you here? You glow, your eyes are pitying, and you know, the voice is not the same. And so they said that this quality of energy just makes circulate all the 5 elements and everybody, and all this is very nurturing. So this is what this question make me think about. So of course now we go in the Bible, in the Old Testament, and of course many when someone and the idea here is, of course, you spoke about this, Dr. Goswami, the personal love and the universal love, and a safe way probably to make this someone happy all the time is to be in love with life, be in love with everyone, be in love with, and again, this is another idea in quantum physics, that we are all interconnected. So, and I think this is how probably has kept Mother Teresa live a long life, even though she was going through all these difficult conditions. Love was probably her mother. So we could have a long discussion about this one. Let's go and take another one here. Interesting though. Therese Grinke, I hope I say well the name. Thank you for this information. Can you review and expand on creating healing for breast cancer at the mental level? And I'll repeat that for you, Dr. Goswami. Can you review and expand on creating healing for breast cancer at the mental level?
Okay, so there are two levels with which you can work on, and both should be done with the help of a trained physician. And for the mental part, you can even invoke a good psychologist to help. But remember what Dr. Drouin just said. This psychologist that you employ, or the medicine person that you employ, should have open heart. Open heart in the sense that the chin should be aroused, compassion. A generalized concept of love, which physicians mostly have actually, but not all. Today there are many materialist physicians. I'm using it in slightly pejorative terms, but I cannot help it, in the sense that they're too business-minded. Such business-mindedness, of course, would prevent them from helping you out in this way anyway. I mean, these doctors will not spend their time in the creative process with one patient. It's just not enough business producing for them. If you can find a compassionate doctor and a compassionate psychologist, then a complete program can be given, which is that together you undergo the process of creating new meaning, which is creativity of the mind. The challenge is how to leap from the mind to the supramental. Look at the archetype of love, which is a Platonic archetype of the most important archetype, from where both romantic love and compassionate love comes. This is the archetype where we can discover original ways of looking at love. Remember, this person who has the disease, who has the blockage that produced cancer, this happened in some incidents long time ago, something that happened which produced the grief, which produced the blockage, which produced the idea that I cannot love again. Love is dangerous, love is not good for me, something like that. So one has to really re-experience love in an original way in order to heal that wrong mental meaning. It cannot be done in a kind of any conceptual way. However much you explain, look, it's not good for you, or any sophisticated explanation either will not do any good. The person has to take a quantum leap. Such quantum leaps require a process which we call do, which is focused doing, where the experts are going to help you, because the focused doing will consist of trying out various things which the experts can suggest, and relaxed being, where you are just vegetating or at most visualizing things that the doctors might suggest, and in a relaxed way. The combination produces unconscious processing in ways that it and these new possibilities will contain the new meaning that will eventually be the healing meaning. So in this way, what kind of visualization? Well, in one very famous visualization, that Dr. Simonton used a lot is the shark eating away the cancerous cells. Another one that worked for a particular patient, this was also published in a book, is where the patient was imagining that there is a block of ice in the heart that is literally sitting like a cold compression that just cannot be lifted. And then all of a sudden the healing came in the form of tears. Well, the ice was melting, and physically that were revealed as tears coming, literally flowing from the eyes of the patient. And after that experience, the quantum healing was complete. The new meaning came that, okay, all that can be released. All that can be released. It's my responsibility. It's my choice. In every case of this kind of healing, if the patient is doing it in an aware fashion, what is remarkable is that there is the discovery of the self and the responsibility. We can take responsibility for our emotions. The meaning we give to our feelings is our doing. If we learn to take responsibility for them, that's half of the work. The other half, of course, is to go through the creative process. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Goswami. That was a very enlightening answer. Let's take another question here. Donis, thanks a million. Oh boy, it's a lot of time. What type of exercise can one do to avoid blockage of our inner power to maintain health? What type of exercise can one do to avoid blockage of our inner power to maintain health?
Blockage of vital energy can be prevented by doing vital energy exercises. My strong recommendation are Tai Chi, very good one. Generally, martial arts are good. Tai Chi is gentle form of martial arts. It's very good. Qigong in general, those are in the same general way. Just vital energy movement, and then also pranayama, breathing technique. An Indian technique. Just breathe and pay attention to the breath. Breathing, because breathing is connected, of course, to the oxygen that we take, and obviously it's vital. So there is vital energy correlation. So pay attention to the breath, and particularly slow down the breath. It has a wonderful effect of slowing down the organs and slowing down the morphogenetic field that are connected to the organs, because they are the blueprints. If the morphogenetic fields are slowed down, then that is producing in between the vital energy movements that occur, we have a lot of gap. In that gap, quantum possibilities proliferate because they are waves. This is the fundamental finding of quantum physics. This is why we slow down, both in the mind and also in the vital energy movements. So any exercise that slows us down, like meditation, Tai Chi works because of that. I like Tai Chi because it's so slow. It's wonderful movement of slowness. These slow movements slows down the vital energies, creates a gap. In that gap, quantum possibilities proliferate. And if you have a bigger pool of possibilities to choose from, obviously you have more chance at creativity. So this is the simple reason for you to choose those exercises which will slow you down. So other things that you can do in lifestyle choices are similar. Instead of fast food, you eat slow food. What does that mean? Slow food means eat your food slowly. Eat your food with company, good company, with positive mindset. That will automatically be slow. Everything in life, if you start doing slowly, you'll find that your longevity eventually will only be not only longer, but it will be productive longevity in the sense that you will be healthier. So, what can I say? If you are quantum integrative medicine practitioner, then you will understand the importance of slowness.
Okay, because the question was about the exercise to avoid. So will you say that everything that is more, because today is very popular workout, and exercise that increase the heart rhythm, and even yoga now in hot
I know.
rooms. And so,
I know.
what do you think about that?
That's the wrong way to go with yoga. Yoga should be slow yoga. And I only know of one very good yoga teacher who teaches slow yoga, whose name is Dr. Uma Krishnamurti. She is also a speaker at the IQM conference in October. Practice slow yoga in preference to fast yoga. Now, fast yoga is not bad. Remember, there is also the physical body. And the first fast yoga, fast exercise techniques, they contribute to the efficacy of the physical body. Certainly, the heart requires fast exercise as well. I'm not negating fast exercises per se. I'm just saying that make your lifestyle, the overall lifestyle, slower than the usual American norm. Because the American norm has been to be fast, fast, fast. We should instead have a modicum of slowness so that we have a balance. This balance, which comes from the Chinese in the medicinal vocabulary, is the most important thing. Balance and harmony. If you have balance and harmony, it is practically synonymous with health, both mental and physical.
Thank you very much. And it's also an individual path. This is an answer which is very difficult because every age, every personality, every constitution, of course, will find different type of exercise, a different type of modality. So let's take another question here. Carmen, what is your opinion about the prayer? The prayer?
Pray.
Yeah,
Pray.
the prayer. Yeah, it's probably the prayer. Yeah.
Prayer is very good. Prayer as a part of intention setting is very good. Prayer should really be a component of meditation. All meditations should begin with a prayer, because prayer says that it is not me, but my quantum consciousness who is in charge. And so the prayer is to put myself in synchrony with quantum consciousness. If you're old-fashioned, you can call quantum consciousness God. I don't mind. And then you must end up in silence. Because remember, it's a combination of your positive action, intention, plus the silence, which is the being. That combination of doing and being that produces the effect that you want. So prayer ending up with meditation is the best kind of prayer.
Yeah, and I think of course, I completely agree with this. And prayer is a way also to humble him or herself. And is, as you said, because what we discover with this old quantum medicine is individual evolve towards a state what we call positive health, which is a mode of integration, which is a mode where we shift from a more ego functioning, conditioning to a mode of more self, more detached, more. And to be able to do so, we have to relate with something that is greater than us. And all religious tradition has translated that in different words, in different kind of prayer or ritual. But this common denominator to, as you said, admit that here, I'm, I bow and I recognize there is something greater than me that is taking over the process is absolutely good. So prayer can, and for the first time you have to realize that, and Dr. Goswami has expressed this very well in his book, there is a reconciliation with quantum medicine, quantum physics, between science and beliefs and faith. And before, we had a model of science that will oppose both. It was dualism. One side religion, one side here, and there is no way to reconcile that. So this is another tremendous benefit now to offer this model, because it helped individual that for centuries knew that, there was a relation, there was a positive relation with belief and faith and healing, and now we have a model that can integrate that. So yes, thank you for your question here. Let's take another one. Florence Tosh, I'm sorry for the noise. Donis, TB, Dr. Paul, a class with Dr. Joseph Dispenza that will help you with the blockage. Yeah, thank you for your comment here. And again, you know, if at the Congress, you know, we already designed a class with Dr. Dispenza, but you can expect that at the, can you come back to that? At the Congress we had at the end of the month here, September 30th, October 1, 2, 3, you will have the opportunity to meet these renowned doctors. You know, can you believe we will have a round table with Dr. Goswami, Dr. Dispenza, Dr. Pearl, who is also world known, you know, for his gift of healing, and Lynn Mektegard. So again, think about it this morning. The time is flying. You still have the, you know, the take advantage. The flight are still affordable, and hotel, so that you can be with us with this family of quantum medicine. And as said, Dr. Goswami, Dr. Murthy will be, Uma Krishnamurthy will be with us in the morning doing yoga classes, so you could be initiated to this form of creative yoga. So let's take another question here. Where is the next one? Thanks, Florence. Where I do this more conversation here. Yeah, where do I find this information? This is the first time I log in a class. Please go on our website. Either, you know, the course we designed with Dr. Goswami, Dr. Dispenza will be a part of the curriculum now. So any student that sign up in the program now will be have access to this information. But you can also choose a specific class. So you go on the website. There is a menu, courses, I think, the drop menu, Alexi. Yeah. And then you drop the menu, and then from there you can, of course, purchase any class you want. Take advantage to be a student, because this is much more. This is a much more affordable. You know, when you buy a program instead of buy class by class. And this is the class we are speaking about now. You will find it online. Brain and neuroplasticity. So it's unique because we are the first university to offer that, as we have 100 hours with Dr. Goswami. And let me tell you, you know, 100 it's a little, because, you know, it's the idea now is just to have a gross, you know, feeling of what we're speaking here. You have to go really in the deep understanding of what is this principle we apply from quantum physics to healing. Okay, next question. Linda Sivan, Spiritual Law of Yoga by Deepak Chopra is wonderful, slow yoga. Thank you for your comment here. Let's take another question. Who is next? Denise? Alexei?
Yeah, so
Dr. Who?
Goswami, do I understand that psychological impact is a trigger for DNA sustainability?
Where is this question?
It's not there. I have to do something. So.
Okay, so can you repeat that again?
Sure. Dr. Goswami, do I understand that psychological impact is a trigger for DNA susceptibilities?
I really don't know if there is any direct correlation going from psychological to the DNA level. It goes through vital energy, I think. Psychological aspects of ourselves affect the vital energy movements, and the DNA is certainly DNA of cells, cell itself has the connection with the morphogenetic fields. But remember, the connection is more with tissues and organs. rather than the individual cells. So the DNA structure, uh, how they would be triggered, the genes will be triggered, is controlled by the morphogenetic field, and the movements of the morphogenetic field certainly is controlled by the mind to some extent by its meaning-giving capacity. But it's only in the way of the cell differentiation. In other words, which genes will be activated producing which protein. So can we, through mind activation, affect the DNA, like, for example, a defective gene which is not being activated producing a cancerous effect? This is an idea that should be tested. Can we actually direct the mind, make a mental intention, and undergo a creative process to affect morphogenetic fields in a specific way so that a genetic defect that is producing a body malfunction, like in the case of cancer, that certainly is the case, specifically for breast cancer, it's the case with certain types of breast cancer. And then could we actually use the mind to heal such a case of cancer? I think this is the kind of new directions of research to go into in quantum integrative medicine. But without the research, I cannot judge the efficacy of doing this, how effective this will be, what kind of mental creativity should we engage with. These are questions. These are very deep questions of research at this moment.
Yeah, thank you for your answer, Dr. Goswami. And of course, these are very important questions. And we have also Dr. Bruce Lipton, who has created on our curriculum the course Biology of Belief. And probably many of you have read his book. And Dr. Dispenza also go also in the DNA and how the mind can affect. And all these subjects, are part again of our curriculum. These are tremendous questions, as I said, Dr. Goswami, for research to come. But research are going on now, and this is what you will see at our congress at the end of the month, with brain mapping and Kirlian photography and others, where we start to push the boundaries and try to understand how effectively how this mechanic works at the DNA level. And so let's take another question again, but I remind people that's a good time also to sign in our program Back to School. If you want, or if you are really excited about this idea, you want to learn more, you want to hear what I'm saying, the most renowned doctor in the field now, this is part of our curriculum. Next question, Victoria Rose D'Angel. Dr. Goswami, what is your opinion as to why the breast cancer rate in America is so high?
Yeah, because, as I was saying, the stress level in living in America is very high. Stress level in living in any advanced economy is very high. On top of it, America is going through a tremendous worldview battle. The two worldviews, scientific materialism and the religious Christian worldview, are coming head to head. In politics, it's a polarization between the Democrats and the Republicans. In the academe and the media generally are in the scientific materialist side, but you have also the huge number of religious people who obviously don't buy into the scientific materialism. So this polarization also produces additional stress. In addition to this stress common in everybody's life in living in a modern technological situation. And what is the most producer of stress is that today, in the age of too much computer, and Alexei, please don't get hurt by my comment, he is a computer aficionado, but he's good at it. But the point is that if you are into this, too much of this mechanicalness in too much part of your life is taken up by mechanical things, you keep away from feelings a lot. And what do you do with the feelings? Feelings, of course, arise. So you suppress them. This suppressed feeling dynamic produces a lot of disease, generally speaking. So the reason that there is so much of high stress disease that takes place, the chronic disease, cancer, depression, these disease is directly due to the conflicts that we live, the emotions that we suppress, and we do too much of this suppression dynamic. That is the reason, I think, main reason, I think.
Thank you, Dr. Goswami. And let's take another question. I see the time is getting faster now. Here is, again, Mike O'Leary. The verse come from Peter, New Testament, but Dr. Paul has answered the question. When we are in love or full of compassion, we seem to be healthier. So thank you to add a compliment here. Lilico Iguava. I really apologize if I don't say properly the names. It's my French accent here. Where can I find professional to assist in regressive therapy of precancerous cell? Where can I find professional to assist in regressive therapy of precancerous cell? I don't know if you have an answer, Dr. Goswami, but I would say, you know, we have Facebook now with our kind of a social network where many of our students, you know, participate. I would probably, and correct me, Alexei, probably ask this question on the network. Do you have any people you can refer to, Dr. Goswami?
I don't have anybody to refer to, but there are people, extremely compassionate people, who might be available for, like, you know, people like Norman Shelley, who are quite famous in terms of their compassion. So, you know, but of course, you know, you don't always go with just the famous people. One thing I may suggest is that there are a lot of these subtle energy conferences today, or another term for it is the energy psychology. Go to those conferences and you really find a whole bunch of network people who are available, and they're totally radiant in their vital energies. Those are the people. Another source is Chinese. By myself working with a Chinese medicine practitioner, Master Lu, and his energies is. So yeah, those are the people that I would look for. I would look for primarily people who have very radiant vital energy that you can immediately feel. You know, vital energy is about feeling. If you go into a presence where you feel that connection, that's the person to go with, and that person may very well help you how to connect with precancerous cells and change the cellular activities and bring it more in harmony with the rest of the body. Okay?
You know, what I found in our family of student and graduate, the so diverse gift and therapies they are working with. So
did you lose the connection?
Oops. Sorry.
And so I invite you to go on the Facebook and network with others, so you will find probably someone who is more specialized in this modality. Because this is what I found. Some practice different modalities of healing. Some have some gift or have developed these skills. And going to the network, you will be able to find them. And this is what we create here at the university. We try to create a platform where people connect and exchange information and help each other, you know, with all these new concepts of quantum medicine. Let's look at the comment, Alexei, on the chat room or question. So what is the next one? Okay, Libby, wonderful presentation. Thank you for your comment. Carmen Swab, thank you. These are comments of support here. Celine Parr, you spoke shortly about raw food and health. Can you tell us more? I think Dr. Ghosh, here's a question about raw food and what is the other line?
Raw food and health.
And health. And I know Dr. Goswami spoke about this question in his book, because the raw food is a vital form of nutriment. So can you explain that more, Dr. Goswami?
Well, the raw food, generally speaking, is good because it is full of vitality. So I didn't want to sound negative about the importance of taking raw food in our diet. I'm in all favor of salads, and I myself absolutely religiously take 2 servings of salad, big servings of salad every day. So I like the idea of raw food, except of course there are cases where there is a certain internal cold intolerance. In other words, if you already have a mentality which is suppressing vital energies at the heart chakra, which produces this situation with cancer, breast cancer. In those cases, you have to be careful about internal cold, and that internal cold may be aggravated with raw food. So again, this individual situation is very important. The suggestions in this field, vital energies, is not universal. There are people with various natures. In the alternative medicine, there is a concept called what is the nature of the patient, the individual nature. In Sanskrit, the word is called prakriti. That individual nature is very, very important. So if the nature is a little bit already inclined towards in other words, the stability, or in Ayurvedic terms, kapha, if that is the case, then you have to worry about this internal cold. If you, on the other hand, are the excitatory kind of nature, which in Ayurveda is called Pitta and Vata, and in Chinese is the yang dominated, then you don't worry about so much about this internal cold. Okay, so it's a situation where you really should find out what your predominant nature is, that any Chinese medicine practitioner or Ayurvedic practitioner will be able to tell you by just reading in a very fine way. Don't try to do it yourself. Very fine way, just reading your pulse, but they are not reading the physical pulse necessarily. They are reading a very complex kind of thing that these medicinal systems have perfected, and requires a lot of intuition and a lot of training, and that tells you about the nature that you're born with. And that is very, very important to find out before you decide about whether raw food is good for you or not. Generally, raw food is very good.
What is good for one has to be individualized for another. So let's look at the question here. Reza Lockhart, is GMO food and chemical product used to preserve food also increasing the cancer, or is only the way we perceive and process feeling which will increase the cancer possibility? I recently read Anita. Okay, now a very interesting question. Another word, we spoke about more the emotional connection this morning, and now what is GMO, pesticide, and all this pollution we find in the food today? So what will be your answer, Dr. Goswami?
Well, this is what the GM and in general, that mindset, Monsanto, what that is doing is really potentially very dangerous. I don't have any direct proof that they are doing harm, but I think the suspicions with which most people of the world are looking at this genetically modified food is justified. We really should study if the vital energies that are associated with this food are the same vital energies that we utilize when we take the traditional food. In other words, the genetic modification, in my judgment, can very well change the morphogenetic fields associated with the food. And in which case, we don't know if those are the morphogenetic fields which will be nutritious for the vital body. We can be sure that physical body nutrition is provided, that physical measurements have already proven that from the physical point of view, they are just fine. But we should never forget that there is also vital counterpart to the nutrition. Nutrition is both nutrition of the physical as well as nutrition of the vital. If the vital nutrition is being different in genetically modified food, that could be very dangerous, not be nourishing us as much. So we should do more research. But how can we do research when the whole establishment completely rejects the idea of vital energy? So we really need to change the worldview, or at least sufficiently change the worldview where there will be some tolerance. We really need, like in religion, we talk about tolerance to other religions. Similarly, in medicine, we really need tolerance from the conventional medicine practitioners towards integrative medicine, alternative medicine, complementary medicine, this kind of concept. But majority is still very hostile, especially if you take the AMA as a collective agency. They're so hostile, it's impossible to even carry out a dialogue.
Yeah, this is very interesting question here, and of course it's something that we have to have reflect on it for a long time, because if you look at literature, you will see some cancer has more component, the toxicity, environmental, and other cancer will have more component emotional, and other there is many source, you know, and then so when we have an approach to that we call integrative quantum medicine, you know, goes with it what we call the evaluation of the client, because this is the first thing you have to look when the client walk in. What is there? Well, now, and how much, because, and you look at the individual more in terms of bioterrain, which is also physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, you know, according to what speak Dr. Goswami, these different subtle body. So and then after you've done the evaluation, this is where you try to see, you know, where is the client and what has you know, because today conventional medicine is all the time looking for one bad guy. In other words, what we like to find is, hey, the bad guy of cancer is DNA. Another one will come and say, no, it's a virus. Another one will say, no, it's the chemical component of it. Another one was, and there is not such thing in chronic disease. Chronic disease, most of the time, you have many factors, risk factor, contributing factor. And the process of evaluation is to understand how much of this cancer that happened in this individual is, how much is important the emotional component, and how much is important the nutritional component, and how much is important the mental one. So you need to have a global picture. And sometimes, you know, even from people coming from the natural medicine field, they still are kind of just saying things like doctors say. They try to find one problem. So you will have literature who will tell you, here, parasite is the problem. This is the cure of all disease. Another one will say, no, it's the candida, and here's one. And no, the truth is that you may have a component of everything. And then this is what we teach at university, how to look at the individual from all these angles. And because after that, when you have understood what is going for that individual in particular, that will help you, you know, to pick what is the best mean of intervention here. If is it more mental approach or vital body approach or spiritual or, you know, psychological. If the component, as we discussed this morning, is more like at the conflict level, heart chakras, of course, then more attention will have to be devoted there. But if someone who comes from an environment polluted and has eaten improperly for years, and maybe you know, we have first to cleanse and come with a nutritional approach. And by experience, I realize most of the time, you know, we have to, you know, approach the problem with a different angle. These are very, very important questions. And I think this morning we have covered many of them, you know, the DNA factor, the emotional factor, you know, and all the other question that in regard of cancer. I know we are top of the hour now. I don't want to extend too much the conversation. But thank you very much, Dr. Goswami. And as I said previously, you know, you have one life opportunity to see him at the round table with all these renowned doctors like Dr. Dispenza, Dr. Lynn McTaggart, and Dr. Pearl. I think that will be fascinating. Please don't wait too long, because you want to still have a good opportunity for hotel and flight. And also I remind you, this is the month of back to school. Can you also bring this? And the back to school is an opportunity for the people who are interested in this quantum medicine to go from what we say a passion to action. This is the theme this year. So, you know, because it's you know, as said, you know, Dr. Goswami, you know, it's not just to know about it, it's what you do about this knowledge, how much of it you will use in practice in the society. And of course our field is here, healing, healthcare, and so everybody is invited, one who has this call to help others with this modality to get credentialed in our university. Thank you very much again, Dr. Goswami, everybody with us this morning. Keep to see our email so that you know, you will be informed our next World TV. What is the guess?
Oh, Dr. Pearl, September.
Oh, can you believe Dr. Pearl will be also teasing you for the Congress September 7th?
September 18th.
September 18th. I'm sorry, I missed the thing. So we're teasing you now with Dr. Goswami, and Dr. Fanning and Dr. Paul will come the next time. So again, thank you very much for all your participation, Dr. Goswami, and see you next quantumworld.tv. Thank you.